Most of us, I presume, sort of slipped into discipleship as infants when our parents took us to the baptismal font. But whether we became disciples of Jesus in that manner or made a conscious choice in adult life to become a Christian, we all will eventually face the challenges of discipleship. They may not come every day. We may miss them if they do come frequently. But we all have to face the cost of discipleship. Now, I'm going to give you 4 ways to avoid the cost of discipleship. This is going to make your life very easy. First of all, never under any circumstances read the Bible. Okay. And if you do insist on reading the Bible, read a chapter a day so that after a year or so you can brag that I've read the whole Bible. Never read the Bible reflectively. It's always about others. It's never about me. That's the first one. Now, you can't avoid the scripture if you go to church on Sunday, because it's proclaimed out loud by the lector and the priest or the deacon, and it's commented upon willy-nilly one way or another by the presiding cleric. But if you take the parish bulletin on your way into the church instead of on the way out, you could read that during the liturgy of the Word and then avoid the scripture almost entirely. There's other ways, 2 other ways. If you insist on reading, pay attention to those biblical scholars who always tell us that Jesus was a Mid-Easterner, and you know how they talk. Everything is exaggerated. Hyperbole is the way they communicate with each other. So when he says things like he said today to the people who wanted to follow him, don't take it too seriously. And if you're a Catholic, the 4th way is almost, at least in my time, it was almost the only way. When you had these hard sayings, he was always talking about people who were becoming priests or religious, not about anybody else, these hard sayings. So there you go, 4 ways to avoid the cost of discipleship. But in truth, if we are sincerely trying to live day by day the life that Jesus has called us to, we will find it costly, because our culture, sometimes even our own upbringing, and the material things of our life often will be a challenge to what Jesus is saying to us through the words of Scripture. So if we are going to follow him, we will be faced with questions. We will be questioned by him through the words of Scripture. And those questions will be very difficult. Challenges like he addressed to these 3 people today who wanted to be his disciples. And if you find, after all these good suggestions that I gave you, that you still don't have any questions about your discipleship, if no questions arise about how well you're doing as a disciple, that means there's another question that we really have to ask.